deserve this spot.
Well, let's see what No Tomorrow has chosen to do after that loss, after the defeat in game number 1. They have chosen first pick, which means Roll20 takes us to Battlefield of Eternity for game number 2. No surprise, Infernal Shrines was game 1. Tomb of the Spider Queen is banned. So what's next?
It's always BOE. You know, Roll20 sticking to their map priorities across the board so far, which would make it a little bit interesting. You know, game number 3 specifically, where if they were to choose the map, where do they want to go? Or more so, what does No Tomorrow do? Again, their first map selection was questionable at best. You know, I feel like I can understand the logic behind it, but I also felt like, do you really have that level of confidence against Roll20 here?
I almost wonder, they've never picked Shrines before,
Yep.
ever. I almost wonder if the thought process is, we ban one of them, we ban Tomb, we go to Shrines and Battlefield right off the bat. If we lose both of them, everything's out of the way now, as far as the Battlegrounds, but that is risky.
I mean, let's say that you accept that there is no world where you win either of those maps.
Okay.
Whether it's at the beginning of the series or at the end of the series is irrelevant, as long as it happens before game number 5, right? As long as between 1 and 4 you manage to make that happen. I don't think it's insane to think like that logic of like giving those maps up, but to open with them, you're essentially asking your team to take some of the most devastating like moral blows and then compete in the most important games they ever have. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but that thought process is a risk and some confidence, again, within their own players, within their mental fortitude.
In a new team.
That I would never have had. But you know what? Maybe that is the thought process here for No Tomorrow.
It does give them some time to test out some of the things that maybe were working for them in scrims that hadn't been fully tested and been put to the test by Roll20.
And I can also see the logic. Okay, this now is where now that you bring that up, I'm starting to be like really excited because this could get some next level stuff because also we're playing on a new patch, which we knew was going to have some kind of influence.
Yes.
You also can use that time if you accept you're going to lose them and you rush them on, all you're gaining is draft data. So then by games 2, if you expect to win 3, 4, and 5, you essentially have more information than you ever would, bettering the odds of you outdrafting your opponent. So you might be on to some next level gameplay here, Gilly.
We'll have to see.
So I'm totally down because, again, there's so much on the line here for both teams. But Genji is the first pick here for No Tomorrow. Uther, Abathur immediately picked up responsibly from Roll20.
2 pairings for Genji to take away, not letting him have Divine Shield for 3 seconds of invulnerability with Dragon Blade time. Fun for all except Roll20. And then a double Genji too, that is not fun for just about anybody to try to deal with. So taking those both away, we'll see what they want to enable, they being Roll20, with that Uther and Abathur after the second set of bans. But now No Tomorrow has a moment. If they want another global, this will be an option maybe for them to get their fall stat again, although maybe less necessary for them feeling like that since there is just so much brawling time. They're going to get Arthas as well as Greymane. So they're setting up saying, if you're going to take an Illidan Roll20, we already have Arthas as a counter.
And I really like the fact that they also took the Greymane in the same transition, right? Because with the Illidan, you were worried about the Uther Abathur, but another focal point, it's Battlefield of Eternity. Best map for Greymane, one of the best 2 heroes synergistically with them on top of it. So, you know, the fact that they deny both the incentive of moving to the Illidan route, but also the Greymane too. It's a really nice rotation there for No Tomorrow. What is it?
I had a thought, but I'm going to hold on to it.
All right, we're keeping it in.
All right. Roll20 now has the opportunity to ban a support if they want to take something away from Tiger JK to make sure to keep both Genji and Greymane safe, potentially something like a Rhaegar. Does anything else immediately stand out to you? No Tomorrow have, except for the support, they have a very well-rounded setup.
Yeah, there's no major screaming like, we need this. Actually, like, if anything did, it was the Rhaegar, like, they ended up drafting, just because Arthas, Greymane, and Genji are all supports that really ideally want to burst support, and Uther's on one side of the table. The only one remaining, in fact, is going to be that Ancestral Healing. So they take that away, and it's not a next-level play, but it, in fact, makes a lot of sense here.
The Chen ban showing that No Tomorrow recognize that they don't have a lot of ways of interrupting the brewing, the jumping around, the annoyance that Chen brings.
They've pretty much removed every major hat target in the book. Arthas, Greymane, Chen. I mean, the only other one is like Murden. Some arguments have been made in the past of like a Tracer kind of hybrid of like replacing the Tassadar. But, I mean, that has been like I'm talking very low-key strategy that was kind of like, you know, we ran it in scrims once in a while as like a way to supplement that. So I'm really excited to see what does Roll20 end up picking for that hat target, unless it's the Illidan. That's the only one remaining, right? And we know that he is not as appealing. I'm forgetting one, though. And now that I think about it, Zeratul. He's a hero we don't see too much, but he is still a huge hat target and one that could be used for Roll20.
It's weird. I never thought I would hear the day or see the day when we would say he's not seen as much, but Roll20 do love Li Ming on Battlefield of Eternity, so I had a feeling that that pick would come out there, as well as the Stitches. Now they have the Stitches and Uther pairing, a follow-up stun. After Stitches, we're just waiting again on who wears the hat.
Yeah, who is, in fact, that major hat target. When it comes to clones, Li Ming is a pretty solid clone target overall. Out of backliners, she's probably one of the higher ones to prioritize. So suddenly it's now we need a hat target, or ideally want a hat target. And it could be a good clone target, but it doesn't need to be, just because at least the Li Ming has already been chosen for Roll20. On the side of note, Tomorrow, though, they very so desperately need their support. Beyond that, though, they can go a couple of directions. They could go for, like, the melee death ball strategy. Overall, and not go with a traditional backliner. Greymane and Genji both kind of being that weird hybrid.
Equinox's second most played hero is Greymane, so it's possible that he'll play the Greymane here, and then we're still waiting on a Jason hero, although Jason plays a lot of Greymane as well. But definitely Talking Trees should be that Genji player. Carzine for Tiger JK, and the final pick.
A Brightwing,
double
support for No Tomorrow. Wow. All right, we still got a pick left, though, for Roll20. Again, who is going to be the hat target? Are they even going to commit to a major hat target? Into the double support, they've already got the Li Ming. It's going to be hard for her to get a reset. So, I mean, ideally, it's either you go overly defensive, which feels really risky for Roll20, and you play out the kind of stalling Abathur experience game. But then there's always going to be a Brightwing, so this is really clever by No Tomorrow.
No Tomorrow played this draft beautifully.
That was so well done.
It's so good. Just from like the start of getting Arthas.
Yeah.
Taking away Greymane, who Roll20 ideally want to have with Abathur. They get Arthas too, which already limits a lot of the further Abathur pairings. You get Brightwing, which does it even more so because of the polymorph.
I want the Zeratul. I feel like Brightwing, we talk about the vulnerability of Brightwing in general. The only way that you get that, but then also Carzine has the Divine Palm. He can save it, and they go for it. Roll20. Backing down to the Zeratul. It's been a long while since we've seen Glarung on the hero, but we know he is no stranger. I was going to say to like the weird Protoss guy, but I actually don't know his surname. Do you? Like the the clever little motto names that we always have for him. What is Zeratul's?
The Dark Prelate.
Yes,
maybe
something like that.
He's definitely a DT, a Dark Templar.
Yeah, Dark Templar. I actually know. I played enough StarCraft to know that one.
Good job!
Hooray for me!
Good job, you! One of the most classic Protoss units. I'm so proud.
I know basic StarCraft lingo. Hooray! But when looking towards the draft, I feel like, there's a lot of pressure on the side of Roll20 in this game. After that last game, I'm confident they have the execution. Their coordination was next level. And it's a kind of a step back, to old school Roll20 and the way that they ended up playing it out. So I'm feeling like, I like what they've got going. They feel like they're confident today, so I give them the upper hand, again, because the map selection being so very well. But you got to hand it to No Tomorrow. They definitely came in with a game plan, and you really can appreciate the effort given here.
Yeah, and it was executed well, even though it was Roll20's Battleground pick, which shows that they have thought through every single Battleground, what's going to happen, what is Roll20 going to pick. You should know that it's very likely they will pick Battlefield of Eternity and try to force them into certain picks that might not be as advantageous for them. It has been a long time since we've seen Roll20 play Zeratul. In fact, they have only played him once throughout all of Phase 2. And that was the very first week, I'm pretty sure. And they had Goku, I think, again, playing Abathur. It was Abathur or Tassadar.
Yeah.
And then Glarung playing Zeratul. So we'll see how comfortable they feel with this draft, how forced they were into this by No Tomorrow. Because No Tomorrow needs this victory if they want to tie up the series. Let's head into Battlefield of Eternity.
And the fact that No Tomorrow, they committed to a double support, that is, I really feel like that puts so much pressure now onto the Genji and onto the Greymane into what is going to be an extremely explosive initiations here for Roll20. I feel like Tiger JK, we've deemed him for now the best Carzine in North America, but I feel like this is going to be a game where he absolutely has to prove it.
The adaptation of No Tomorrow, to see them be willing to play double full support too, because they were one of the most prevalent teams to want to play Tassadar if they're going to play double support, and then put Talking Trees on that Tassadar. even to the effect that if they can't get Tassadar, they would rather try to get Zarya and make Zarya work for them. So this is quite the adaptation for them to now have Jason playing Brightwing, and his polys will have to be as on point as ever, as well as Tiger JK landing those palms that we know he can.
You know what I've never even thought of? Okay, so Gilly, this is going to get a little hype, a little backstory. For anybody who has not watched Goku play Zeratul, though he isn't the Zeratul player right now, he gets to be the clone. And when looking at the stats of Roll20, and specifically Goku and his time on Superstars, wow, nice hook, the setup's there. It looks like Equinox is going to be going down. Again, Roll20 just seems like they are much more coordinated, on the same page, starting out very early on in the series. But back to Goku. Statistically, damage dealt-wise, one of the best Zeratools, if not the best Zeratul in the whole North American scene. He was among some of the best. And though you don't think of him as he was the Zeratul guy, he statistically, again, absolutely standout performance. So now we get him as the clone in this game. They have two amazing Zeratul players, and conveniently one's on the Abathur.
Yeah, that means that is Zeratul with extra damage too. Talking Trees uses Cyber Agility.
You'll feel like next level. He'll be like, this is the broken version of Zeratul. I get to be like an absolute monster now.
Yeah, I can't drop VP, but then again, I don't have to worry about the one landing the VPs, right? I can just go in, I've got that 20% ability power, 20% attack damage, and I'm moving 10% faster. Let's go.
Let us go. And so far, Roll20's managed to do that, but only with that one kill they've got up on the bottom. You know, I'm going to say, just because we've seen enough of it through the last game, Glorong, you know, question if that 4-pull was the right choice there, but Equinox does feel like he is a bit on a different page from everyone else, which is concerning, knowing he's the most vocal. He is this shot caller and decision-making here. So whether it be a communication or what, either way, again, No Tomorrow's got to find a way to get themselves back onto the same page.
Yeah, and if the game plan ended up being that they knew they were going to face Roll20 on their favorite battlegrounds first, especially picking Infernal Shrines versus them, then they had to know that it was going to be likely that they ended up in this kind of situation, being down at least the first game. Both teams, though, well on their way to getting level 4 talents. We'll see what opens up after that.
This little polymorph here, it's all about the side soak. Roll20 traditionally, nice hook, Jason's dead. We talk about Brightwing, seriously. Like, I legitimately feel like if Brightwing gets hooked ever, almost, you should just 100% assume you are dead. Her health pool's so very squishy, no mount, no defensive, and no burst healing. But a great hook, again, here for Justing on Roll20. We get Casanova with the Howling Blast. He's got the slows. Tiger moved up, got the heal, and a couple punches in.
That's looking really good. Brightwing has also come back in. They're going to get separated because of the Immortal stuns, and that means Talking Trees is taking a lot of damage. Barely has his deflect. In the end, goes down, but they've made it a 1-for-1.
He was unable to get the reset there, and Roll20 got the punishment, but looking at the HP onto the Immortals themselves, it is near dead even between these teams, Gilly.
Prismat ran out of mana, so he has to head back. Both of the teams trying to play the defensive game and make sure that they're keeping up with their opponent's inexperience. Greymane is shown down into the bottom. Zeratul's hanging out up into the top. Brightwing's doing her best to be able to soak alongside of the Zeratul too. You see Jason there. So both teams needing those fluid rotations to keep up an experience, but Roll20 are the ones who are pushing the lanes in, and that gives them the benefit of rotating back in faster. And
we've known this is how Roll20 made a name for themselves onto this map. It's through that soaking onto the side lanes and playing this first Immortal phase so very slow. Glorong, nice dodge there, and the max range Howling Blast. Hook doesn't connect for Justing, but we are now on to the secondary phase of the Immortals. The race is going to be real. We expect Roll20 to probably pull ahead, considering they've got the Li Ming and the Zeratul, but the double support is keeping up.
Ooh, that was insanely close. 531 health is all that's separated. They got Iron Fist?
Yeah, I guess the Iron Fist was enough to be able to step it forward. I thought for sure we would see Roll20 have that damage output.
Iron Fist and Greymane and Worgen for him, man.
Greymane, you know, that's a good point. Greymane, we always talk about his race potential, but really until you kind of see it in action, it's hard to really realize how quickly he just shreds through that Immortals HP. Either way, No Tomorrow fighting back here through the objective itself. The Immortals moving up. Glorong sharking on the backside. It's going to open up. Equinox pressured away, but it's just merely to scare the members of No Tomorrow.
No Tomorrow really don't want to have to bring down Brightwing unless they have to. Equinox has gotten hit by the hook, but is able to use the sidewall to dive away. Casanova now getting the phase shift from Brightwing. She doesn't have 7 yet, so there's no hyper shield behind that, but still Casanova just barely makes it out thanks to the Tiger JK and Talking Trees, both drawing members of Roll20 away. Trees dodges the hook. They'll make it out alive.
That was so very close. When Trees moved up there, he was looking to be able to get the kill on the Glorung, but he teleported at the exact same time that we saw that Swift Strike come together. If that had any hard CC had connected onto Talking Trees, I am confident he would have been one dead Genji. But luckily, able to dodge that hook, and now Roll20 with a couple of backs and being victorious over that small skirmish. They're going to net themselves at least one camp here on bottom. Justing found Tiger.
Justing's watching to see if there's anybody that he can hook. Greymane was considering going up to the top. Equinox now going to do that with Brightwing 2 to get the Khazra camp up in the top lane. Prismaticism sees that this is happening, going to harass to the best of his abilities here.
It's got to be the biggest Li Ming you've ever seen. You know, puff out the chest, be like, I'm scary. I know this is a 2v1, but I'm scary. And it's done his job. Glor even coming in finishing, or was that Glor? Yeah. Where did that pick happen?
It was down on the bottom.
Wow, sorry. For a moment, I thought it was the other way through. But yeah, this is just no Tomorrow at least managing to fight back and get a kill there on Justing.
Yeah, now the Trees is on Genji. Expect them to play a little more monstrously, as aggressively as they can with that Genji. Experience tied up. No Tomorrow's Brightwing pick is working how they were hoping it would. Being able to side soak against the Abathur, nullify the Abathur as best as she can, and then phase shift in whenever Zeratul pops his head out to immediately polymorph and give some pseudo supporting as well to the team. They have the Hyper Shield from that, or the Pixie Dust from that, to be able to give just a little bit of spell armor and movement speed away from Zeratul. And now they have the Shield Dust, or the Phase Shield. All those talents, man.
Bunch of shields.
The phase shift in, giving a shield. There you go, the end.
Yeah, she managed to pick up that one. One of the shielders there. But what I wanted to take a minute to note was just how inconvenient that spawn positioning was there for the first half of this. And now the second one is a bit better for Roll20, just because, again, we know they want to play it out slow. The fact that there was such an offensive timing there, the Abathur not getting that slow early game the way that he maybe wants. But 10 is closed in for both sides. The hook, the Immortal stun after, and Casanova is going to be killed with a beautiful Vorpal from Glorung. The initiations of Roll20 and synergy is just unmatched in this game.
Justing was just waiting that out, like, okay, and now with the Immortal stun, and that puts No Tomorrow in a terrible position. Not only are they back trying to defend their Immortal, which is lower in health, but they're also doing so without their Warrior, and Roll20 is almost to getting heroic abilities. They are dangerously close to getting those.
And if they get it, they have Void, so that's an easy force to fight, or fight to force. My goodness, words are hard here. But there it is. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Normally, when you have the 10s, you're like, how do we get this initiation? But Glorung can just straight up just be like, guys, they're all right here. Would you like to collect and get your experience? And they do very quickly there.
Double Zeratul. Li Ming resets as well. Li Ming was low on mana, but it was just enough to be able to get one kill and the Immortal. And Roll20 still have 10s over No Tomorrow with another earlier level lead. Goku.
Oh, so scary there. Now, Tiger JK is going to start the back. There's no way they get this. They're both dead. Maybe one survives? No way. Oh my gosh. They miss everything. Oh, they just needed to walk through somebody. They make it out. Oh. But now Roll20, okay, the Immortal, he's been doing work the whole time. He's still at the half shielding. I'm amazed they did not stop those backs.
They'll get a hook, though, and there's a hammer along with it. Casanova popped his Icebound Fortitude, and No Tomorrow have had enough. They're ready to get into the fight. Dragon Blade comes out, Talking Trees, putting damage on Prismaticism and Buds. Buds is going to turn around with a hammer, but the real target is Justing. They'll take him out.
They will take him out, and they found themselves Bud as well. He's going to go and have a couple of healing, but Prismat with that teleport will not have the heals. Luckily, he moves forward there, and now Uther is going to keep him online. Goku actually dropping the ultimate evolution. Interesting choice, as it looked like the fight was kind of over, but they're trying to stop the defense onto this Immortal, and now Glorung is waiting on the sides.
Glorung's going to show up and try to do damage to the Polymorph, hits him. Prismaticism in trouble. Trees takes him out with a Shuriken, diving in after Glorung 2, trying to body block. Tiger JK goes down. Glorung's going to take him down with him, but he gets taken out just before that Void.
Yeah, and if he had the Void, he might have been able to use it and abuse the fact that we saw Stitches and Uther just come back online. and you know, maybe get the force afterwards. But interesting decision-making coming out from Roll20 there. You could tell them that they were trying to really push the envelope there, and overall, no Tomorrow, they still lost quite a bit. You know, the Immortal got the entire fort throughout the bottom half of the map, but they have at least secured some of the experience back. We're back closer to a 50-50 game here.
Yeah, Glowering not having Void Prison just decided to stay and try to help that Immortal as best they could, and it did open up the battleground some for Roll20 that they were able to take out that fort, and keeps them soaking, keeps them up ahead in experience as they're just about to hit 13, thanks to having Goku hanging out as that Sluggather.
Sluggather. Oh, Justin, man, his hooks are so very close. Even the 3 he's thrown out of fog where he doesn't even know where the target is has been legitimately just a fraction of an inch away. Glowering founding Jason down here, the polymorph. He's got the Vorpal, and ooh, he's gonna have the confidence to blink over. Oh my goodness, he's going to be able to make it out. It's between Seeker, between Vorpal, and a Palm here up on top. I thought Glowering might be able to risk his own life there, but obviously 3 teleports is better than 2.
I am amazed by No Tomorrow and their confidence, seeing that Glowering was going after Jason, being willing to push and siege very hard up in the top lane, even using Palm just to make sure that they could put on as much aggression as they could to try to hang in this game against the Apather. Because the longer that these fights are going to go around the Immortals every single time, the further ahead Roll20 is going to be able to get in experience. You can see it, though, that No Tomorrow has done a pretty good job of being able to keep up with them. They're going to get some mercenary camps as well to push back the lanes, especially here in the bottom lane where they did lose their fort.
So with the Shaman down here on bottom and the Khazar camp stack, No Tomorrow doesn't necessarily have to commit to the objective itself. Obviously, the Immortals are getting very, very powerful, but maybe, you know, force the hand of the rotation of Roll20 if they wanted to, especially with this spawning through the bottom half of the map. Roll20 is now the one having to answer to them. But it looks like they're going to stall it out, play a little bit safer here, not wanting to take that risk onto the Immortal itself, which is, it's so very dangerous to take fights there.
Brightwing is going to take care of top, but is going to phase shift in, knowing that Casanova is starting to get pretty low. Void Prison's in the back, Justin using his Putrid Bile. He's doing a lot of damage and slowing things down so that Casanova can't get as easily on top of the other members of Roll20. Goku sharking around behind. No Tomorrow feel like they are fish in a barrel at this point, and Roll20 is just waiting for an opening and the right way to get in. Immortal stun hits. Palm does connect in an ice block as well, but eventually Brightwing goes down. Talking Tree starting to use his Dragon Blade, though. Prismaticism is so low.
He's so very on top of that. Trees just needs one single reset, and he can absolutely clean up here, but he needs to get that cyber agility through. Buds is the only target within range. There's one. Second member ended up going down there thanks to Tiger JK chasing it out. Glowering, he's waiting through, getting that healing out from Buds, but if he gets revealed, very much could cost him his life. He's going to open here onto Casanova. Goes back in, teleport 1. Prismat here with the support, but overall, no kill gained afterwards, and No Tomorrow showing signs of life in this game.
Man, I saw a Zeratul with an Abathur hat and a Leeming rotated back in, and the health bars of No Tomorrow, and I was terrified, but they were able to force the halfway point of the Immortals, and now Brightwing is back once again, dealing with the Shaman camp that she wasn't able to deal with because Roll20 were able to force her to phase shift in. They do not want to take any more damage at that point. They've already lost their second fort, which puts Roll20 continually just slightly ahead of No Tomorrow in experience, but if No Tomorrow were able to get this Immortal, it would help so much in being able to catch back up.
Yeah, it would be really, we'd find ourselves on even footing back in the game. Another hook landing for Justin. Howling Blast. Casanova's going to go in. Army of the Dead is popped. Trees doing his best, throwing out the shuriken, but Equinox is under so much pressure. Palm is used a bit too early. It's not going to go off, and now Glowering is on the chase there with Goku. That's the kill, and now the Void.
There's the Void. Buds walks into position, trying to make sure that they can catch a beautiful orb from Prismaticism. Spells destruction to No Tomorrow as they lose 3 members down, and the rest being chased away to oblivion. Casanova will fall. Only Talking Trees is left, and that Immortal is far too strong for Talking Trees to be able to force it over to their side. Yeah,
the best case scenario here for No Tomorrow would be just a bit more damage from Trees. Justin even zoning off, showing what, you know, post 16 Stitches can do best. That Pulverize, so much damage in such a short cooldown. But overall now we've got Roll20 slowly redeeming their Immortal. It's going to be at about 1/3 of the shielding, and overall that's going to be, what lane are we going to with this? Bottom? Going up to top. You know, it's not enough for a keep. It is enough to be able to get it if you get 1 to 2 kills or if you zone your opponent off with enough damage. But by no means is this, you look at this and go, this is 100% our keep. It is very likely, but if No Tomorrow moves past with that 16 and actually gets 1 to 2 kills, they could hold off and, avoid catapults maybe a moment longer.
The nice thing for No Tomorrow is that they are borderline getting 16, and 16 is going to be a lot more damage for Greymane. Looking at Karazim too, potentially cleansing dash or even more damage for him with Way of 100 Fists.
Oh.
So they have some damage there. Roots from Arthas will be huge. That should change how Glaurung plays around that Arthas too, making sure that he doesn't get rooted inside of Frozen Tempest.
I didn't even consider the fact No Tomorrow with that double support, it is very difficult for them to get the damage onto the Immortal, but they managed to do so, completely zoning No Tomorrow away, or Roll20, excuse me, away without even really looking like they were intending to fight. Just so, showing a bit of confidence was enough to be a deterrent here for Roll20, and they find themselves keepless. They do have a large amount of damage onto that, but somebody's going to have to clean it up, and it looks like Glaurung's going to do that with an Abathur clone. Clever plays here from Roll20.
Roll20 kind of giving No Tomorrow a taste of their own medicine. The one game that No Tomorrow were able to win against Even in Death, they basically went in for a base rush when they know where their opponents were going to be. Roll20 made No Tomorrow think that they were going after that camp. No Tomorrow wanted to get it, didn't want to give up pressure there, and instead lost the keep to the double Zeratul. Nice plays from Roll20, also forcing out the Palm 2 from another nice hook from Justing. Things going Roll20's way, and every single Immortal phase, they get a little bit further and further in the experience game, but that is enough to start turning things around for No Tomorrow. They find and take out Stitches.
That was such a beautiful rotation for No Tomorrow, all looking like they had no intent of being around on that section of the map, breaking Fog of War, moving downward, and just immediately all-inning to find themselves a kill. And now they've got 42 seconds to really kind of do whatever they want. They start off with a Shaman camp here.
This is the No Tomorrow what we've been wanting to see.
Where they very much are just looking to what can we gain at this point in time. Oh, they don't expect us to fake like we're going somewhere else on the map and get the rebuttal back. And back to that last skirmish too, one thing I do want to highlight for No Tomorrow is still Tiger JK is doing a great job with these palms to be able to keep the team alive. He's going to need one right now, but not available. That is a brilliant kill. Again, Glaurung with that Abathur hat is just applying way too much pressure here.
But stopping the Dragon Blade as long as he can. There is a Void Prison with, again, the double Zeratul of Goku, but they get rooted. Casanova this time is able to be more of the beefy, scary frontline now that he's started to get more into building up his level 1 talent. It's all the way done, so he has the increased range as well as the rooting enemies in path. Goku on that clone chasing down at Tiger JK until it goes away. But No Tomorrow have a little bit of time where they can still try to make something happen. They need to before Roll20 gets to 20.
Justing's rooted down, Polymorph 2, but Buds has the supporting there over the wall. He drops the heal, and the keep pressure with the Goku up on top is going to be way too much here. It's No Tomorrow really needs to be the ones dictating the pace somehow, but Roll20 is doing a really good job of just taking what they can get. You see them move up, and then they go, okay, it's a little sketchy right now. Let's back out, recollect ourselves, and then we're going to move in and make it happen. But No Tomorrow has got to turn it on in that downtime.
Especially when they know Void Prison's down. It's go time before Roll20 gets 20, and while there's no issue of Void Prison, now they're going in, trying to go after Prismaticism. Tiger JK is going to have to use the palm on himself, but the damage is real on top of Buds.
Oh man, and Prismat though, caught out. Li Ming actually ended up dying. That's 60 seconds. No Tomorrow getting another kill here.
They're pretty low though, and the clone is back. Jason in trouble, uses Ice Block. Hook pulls in Casanova. Brightwing stays safe, although he comes out on top of a stun and the double Zeratul, and they eliminate Brightwing. Uther's down too. Once that Ghost is gone, the heals will become a lot less for Roll20, but can No Tomorrow take someone out before then?
That is Justin down. Another kill. Glaurung actually went back in.
And
what?
Void.
And he dropped Void on top of it? That is worst case now for Roll20. The fact that they have no Void. Now when all their members are back online and actually alive, they're going to have a 40-second window where they don't have the Void because Glaurung was doing his best to stop the bleeding. Roll20 now is I mean, they're ahead because they have the catapult, but this is a window that almost should not have existed for No Tomorrow, and they are seizing every opportunity they're given.
Yeah, it's a much larger window, too, than should have been otherwise. We're talking like bay-sized instead of the small windows that you would see maybe in a bathroom or something, I don't know. But look at the catapult pressure on top. Somebody has to deal with that.
I feel like we really need to come up with like a solid measurement system for like window types.
Yes, window opportunities.
Yeah, like this is a gorgeous one you'd like to sit, maybe take a photo, a painting out of a really big, beautiful scenic window.
You would read next to as you gently drink a cup of tea.
Yeah, versus like the other one where it's like, you know, it's just a little baby. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. What is the tiniest window? I don't even know how I ended up at this point in my life, but
the tiniest window is just like a hole in a wall. I think that was accidentally been made. You can kind of like look through it just barely.
Like Wizard of Oz shrinking room, you know, like if that room that gets tiny, tiny,
or a keyhole.
Alice in Wonderland style. We're getting weird here. Either way, No Tomorrow. They've got the Punisher, or excuse me, the Immortal, and its shielding has been removed. They got rid of the fort up on top, but they need to keep. This is going to be convenient. Oh, not a hook. Justin actually got stunned out. The Howling Blast, a bit of punishment, forcing at least healing cooldowns coming out from Buds.
Yeah, Casanova, his response to that hook did not seem like he was that annoyed with it so far. He is going to use Army of the Dead. Void Prison is there as well. He's keeping himself alive and keeping everyone away from the Void Prison, and so is Trees on the backline. A perfect zoning for both of those teams.
Trees actually went in on Glorung and forced him to teleport away. They didn't end up getting the kill, though. Keep is down. The Immortal is down, too, so now No Tomorrow needs to be able to get the retreat. Oh, the hook onto Tiger. Can he get the dash away? They have Palm up still. Glorung decides he's going to move back in. Double dash, Palm procced.
They're going to turn this around with a Storm Shield, but Greymane's just blown up, and now it's a 4v5. Brightwing gives the face shield at the last second to Casanova, but Tiger JK will be the willing sacrifice. Jason gets pulled back in with the hook.
8 more seconds, and then he's got another teleport away. It's about half the time there of the hook, but the mines, Trees needs to move away. Now teleport, he's dead. That is now another kill. 3 members down with the top keep exposed. It looks like Roll20 wants to end it here. They want to say that this game is going to be over, and I don't think that No Tomorrow between Justin, Arthas, and Genji have enough tools. But maybe, you know, if Trees gets one reset, there is an opportunity.
Man, the zoning around that Void Prison was so good from No Tomorrow, but Roll20 getting on top of the core now. The members taking down the shielding, only Casanova and Trees still trying to stop things, but nobody is low enough to start giving Trees those resets. Prismaticism staying away, Trees now getting on top, but it's way too late. Roll20 takes game number 2.
Roll20 find themselves 1 game away from not only being able to claim the series, but they find themselves 1 game away from, again, possibly being able to go to the Western Clash. Again, it's one of those things where they set the goal today to obviously come in and get that 3-0, not only because it feels good, the confidence levels, and restoring the faith within their own members, but also because of that Western Clash. I'm surprised that it's this dominant, honestly. I very much am. It just feels like Roll20 seems like on a different level. Even with a couple of, you know, questionable moments here and there, overall, they've really got it all together and are working as such a solid unit.
Yeah, it does feel like they have reset a lot in their mentality and potentially have had an easier time of doing so as a team together. They and No Tomorrow have, after losing to Even in Death. Even though, when I talked to Equinox, he said, first of all, Western Clash does not do or die for this group of individuals as a team. Western Clash would be great, but they have their eyes on BlizzCon and improving as a team. But losing to Even in Death, even then, it was a lot more surprising to them than they realized, and whether that surprise is something that is ending up making it really bad for them, that they're like, I can't believe that we would ever lose to one of the teams that had not yet won a series, or if it was just something that they could brush off. It's hard to tell. Things don't look good for them right now, though.
Yeah, I feel like it's like another case where when oftentimes we talk about how a lot of mentality things can go both directions. You know, it very much is like a how you want to view it, half glass half full, half empty type deal. And a lot of the times it feels like it's empty. You know, very few teams take it as like a, this is why we're going to be a better team next week afterwards. And so, you know, maybe still some of that lingering here for No Tomorrow. But I mean, we saw signs of life in that game. A couple of moments, I guess specifically with that bait up on top, feigning, all breaking fog, and then a perfect rotation down. No hesitation. Justin went 100-0 in less than a second. And if they manage to get that and then remember, you know, I feel like that's all it would take. And then suddenly the light switch turns on and No Tomorrow's like, we're really good at this game, you know, and just look equally dominant, maybe the opposite direction. I think it could be possible.
I think so too. We'll have to see. We're going to head to a break, and when we come back, we'll have game number 3 between Roll20 and No Tomorrow. See you soon.
Hey, y'all out there. If you're gonna get through the summer, you need stamina. You need strength. You need Takis Finley's Bust Your Ass Workout. You want a beach buddy for the first time in your timid little life? Well, I got the toughest fitness program in the multiverse. But you cannot argue with results. I guarantee I can turn anybody into a rock-solid hero.
Looks like you need a timeout.
Takis Finley's Bust Your Ass and Takis Finley are not responsible for damage inflicted by cannonball, ghost pirates, enemy minions, garden terrors, web weavers, dragon knights, or immortals. Please consult the sport class to determine if Bust Your Ass is right for you. All sales final. As I was saying, I can transform any... Now listen, you know none of this is legally binding, right? Well, it's about summertime.